Hi, and welcome to Hanging with Becky. I'm Becky Deanna. This week, I'm hanging out with my best friend, comic book writer David Booher, to relive another unforgettable San Diego Comic-Con. Believe it or not, this was my 20th Comic-Con and David's 18th, and we've attended all 18 of his together. Every year, we share a hotel room, grab late-night dinners, compare stories, and somehow spent almost the entire convention having completely different experiences. While I spent my weekend chasing the biggest movie and television panels, including Star Trek, Apple, and Marvel, David was living the life of a comic writer, signing books for fans, appearing on 4 panels, and somehow squeezing in 6 different signing sessions for Killer Queens, Dungeons & Dragons, Kanto, Avatar Legends, and Disney's Frozen. Of course, getting into Hall H is an adventure all by itself. My Star Trek away team of nearly 40 friends worked together in shifts over the course of 18 hours on Friday to earn our wristbands for Saturday's Hall H lineup. It was one of those uniquely Comic-Con experiences that perfectly captures the camaraderie and the controlled chaos of the convention. We'll take you through all 4.5 days from preview night on Wednesday through the final moments on Sunday evening, sharing what it was really like to be on the ground at Comic-Con. From unforgettable fan moments and behind-the-scenes stories to the incredible energy inside Hall H, including my quick dash out to appear on my own Comic-Con panel before racing back. We're giving you a boots-on-the-ground look at one of the biggest pop culture events in the world. So unpack your convention bag, lace up your most comfortable shoes, and get ready to hang out with Becky. Hi, David. Welcome to Hanging with Becky, our first Comic-Con episode. Maybe it'll be an annual tradition.
The yearly trek is now an annual tradition. Yes, apparently hanging with Becky for 5 full days at San Diego Comic-Con wasn't enough, so I am back for more.
Let's think of it that way. So fun. So this is our first, like I said, Comic-Con episode. And just want to say, so David and I have been going to Comic-Con together 18 years now. I went, my first Comic-Con was 2005. And it was, so I went for, this is my 20th Comic-Con. My first was 2005. And it was so easy to go back in the day that when I went for work, the first 2 years I worked at an agency, I went for work. And when I went, my friend and I, a few of my friends and I, shout out Dave Rosner, because I mentioned him on a previous episode about how I cried during a Justice League panel. And it was my first Comic-Con panel ever. But anyway, Dave and I and a bunch of some other friends from our agency, we literally drove up to Comic-Con, showed up at the door, bought our tickets there, and went. And that's how easy it was 20 years ago. It got progressively harder as it goes. And now it's like almost impossible to go. But yeah, it's pretty difficult now.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, difficult is, I joke about it. Like getting a hotel there, it's the hotel Hunger Games. Honestly, do not look behind me.
No.
Because there are slayed children to get that stupid hotel room.
Yeah, the hotel, I forgot. The hotel's hard, and that's a narrative for this podcast, our hotel room experience. But yeah, it's hard and the cool thing about, one of the good things about is there's a hotel lottery. So it is nice that Comic-Con tries to get reduced rates for people at Comic-Con, and they have all of San Diego, and then like with the Gaslamp District, and then even far away, but it's impossible to get a room. David has always been the one to get the room while I'm working, because somehow he's like more on it in the morning than I am, and it's usually like in the middle of the week. And then we've been lucky enough for him to get a room through some of his contacts recently. But we've never had to share a bed before, like this year.
I'm reminded of, God, it was probably 2009, 2010, maybe 2007, when we stayed at the Motel 6. Do you remember this?
I remember that the shower head.
Yes, the shower head was so low that it was like, I am not a wildly tall person. Neither one of us are wildly tall. And still, this was like, hitting you in the middle of the chest.
I
That's the
forgot.
height.
It's so funny. I still don't know in what universe they wanted the shower head. They thought it should be that short. But I remember at one point I had to wash my hair and I got on my knees in the shower so that my head could get under the shower head. And I'm like, why is the
Wait,
shower head so short?
wait, I just didn't wash my hair for 3 days. No, just kidding. Ha, I did.
I
And
forgot we
and
went from the Motel 6 to like the nicest hotel ever.
yeah, we were at the Marquis Marriott.
Yeah.
And shout out to my publisher Dark Horse for setting up the room. It was fantastic. What was available this year? So all previous years, it always
Yeah.
ended up working out. And then this
Yeah.
year, we there was a room with the king bed, and you don't, listeners, friends of the pod, if you have never been to Comic Con or tried to get a hotel, Marquis Marriott is literally. I found out a hack this year. It's literally connected
Yeah.
to the convention center, so it's as close as you can get, and also be sleeping without sleeping outside in the Hall H line, hoping to get in the next day. They only had a king bed available, so we will always have the core memory of me and Becky. Our respective spouses know all about this too. We're fully encouraging. We're like, go,
Yeah,
do
whatever.
it. We know, we get it. And do you want to talk about how vigilant we were in this enormous football-sized king bed?
The bed was
Football
so
field
big.
size.
Well, so what's funny, I love how like we're just getting to this. Well, we're going to give you the whole Comic Con experience and show you that David and I have completely different Comic Cons, but we had to share a bed first time ever. And what was fascinating when we talked about it is I am not a crazy sleeper. I pretty much sleep like a vampire. Like I sleep in the same spot. I wake up and I barely move at all. And so I was like, oh, this is no problem. I'll be on the side if you're a crazy sleeper. But David said he wasn't a crazy sleeper either.
We were, and so we were split. There was so much room between
So much
us.
room between
And I
us.
believe that both of us were kind of hovering on the edge of each side, and the tension of the blanket, of us sharing it, kept us on the mattress. It kept us from falling off onto the
Oh my
floor.
God. I remember one time the first night you're like, hey, can you give me the sheets? Because I think I did turn around and I got pulled the sheets, but that was the only issue we had. But at one point you said you got home because David was doing a lot more partying than me. And so one time he got home and he couldn't even see me in the bed because it was like the bed was so massive and I was in there and you're like, where is she?
Just like you turn into the size of my thumbnail when you're under the covers. I'm like, oh God, did that happen? Did you just become one with the bed? I appreciate the dedication to sharing that
Yes.
bed with me, but you don't have to like vanish.
Yeah, no, because the bed enveloped me because it was so large. But yeah, we were thinking a large man, 300-pound man could have slept between us. I think that's how big the bed was. But anyway, that's just one of the elements of sharing. But we've been through so many hotels together. We share one sometimes at WonderCon too, and we've been lucky enough to stay at like the Manchester Grand Hyatt, which is 2 hotels down. That seems so exciting because it's a really nice hotel and it's right next to the convention center. But that one's kind of a trek, even though it's right next to the convention center, because you have to walk like through the whole side to get to there. But this hotel is literally right next to the convention center, and it was really nice.
And I'm sure I told you this, but the con hack I discovered after 18 conventions, Comic Cons in San Diego, is that the parking for the hotel is literally under the convention center. So, and there's stairs that go down to it. So I used my car as like a storage unit. So everything I bought, I just put it in my car as soon as like I booked the schlep to like signings and stuff.
Oh,
I
that's
just put it back in my
nice.
car. I didn't have to, which when we get to Saturday, I will tell you why that was such a key moment in my con experience, because there was an elevator saga.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. So what we're gonna do is we thought it'd be fun because this episode is coming out about a week after Comic Con, and I'm sure all the announcements. If you're interested in Comic Con, you've already heard all the exciting announcements. So we thought it'd be fun because there's probably no other podcast out there like this. That we thought it'd be fun since this is my 20th Comic Con. We've done 18 together, so I think it's your 18th Comic Con, David.
Yeah.
David's never done Comic-Con without me. It's so sweet. We thought it'd be fun to give you the experience of what it's like to go to Comic-Con, and to show you how we go together, but we almost have completely different experiences because we're into different things, and we sort of reconvene sometimes at night, sometimes like in the exhibit hall we pass by. I'll go to some of David's events. But other than that, we have completely different experiences. So I thought it'd be fun to go through the 4.5 days. We're not going to minutia go through every day, but we'll go through some key highlights that are fun because a lot went down. I had some real highs and I had a real low. One of my real lows was on Friday where I thought I was going to die, but we'll get through everything. So I guess the thing to start off with is Wednesday. So we have 4.5 day passes, which includes preview night. Preview night is Wednesday night. It's 6 to 9 p.m. It's awesome. It's like one of my favorite, usually my favorite day of the conference, and not everyone can get in. And they call it preview night. So it's like, they used to not sell as many passes, and it's just, is some programming 6 to 9, but most of the time, and what I do is I spend my 3 hours on the exhibit floor going after all the things that I heard about online, exclusive things I want. I run into some people to say hi, but I tend to try to not run into people because I'm kind of crazy person and I'm going up and down all the aisles of the exhibit floor, locking in all sorts of steps just to buy things. And actually I recorded how many steps I did. It was like 50. Oh, great. Now I think I closed the Excel spreadsheet, but it was over 50 some thousand steps, which clocked in at 38.9 miles is what I walked in 4.5 days, which is insane. So that's how many steps, just to give you how much I walked, almost 39 miles in 4.5 days. But yeah, so Wednesday, I met David at the hotel. He had got there earlier than me, and we met at the hotel. And what were you doing when you got to the hotel?
When I rolled up to the hotel, I was hoping that the parking was working out, the room was there. It's like it's one of these things. It's so until they're like, here's your key card for your room, you just never quite know. So I was there and I was waiting, and then I think we rolled into preview night. I just picture Law and Order, that dun dun dun, 6:01 p.m. San Diego Convention Center, dun dun dun, and then that's us. I think we actually waited, right?
Yeah.
Or did you already get in?
No. So when I got to the, that's a good point when you brought up earlier, because I forgot about that. But luckily you got there before me. In the past, even if you have a hotel room, there's always the fear that you're going to walk up to check in and they're going to be like, I don't have your reservation. I think one time we had a scare when we were like near Little Italy. We had a hotel near there, but it's still a fear every time. Even though you get a confirmation, you're always scared they're going to say sorry and then your whole life is ruined. But that usually doesn't happen. But I met up with David. We got ready, and then we went to get dinner. We had dinner. We ran into Drew.
Dreamy
Drew.
Who's the Drew? Hopefully you're listening to this. We got to Drew Zucker, who's a good friend of mine. He's also the co-creator on one of my sort of flagship creator-owned comics that was there this year. We met up at the same restaurant that we always go to for Mexican, before we get into the con, and then we get in to the con, and
we take off.
And then bye, see ya. And literally we scanned our badges and we're like, bye.
Exactly.
You lock in. You're like, I don't have, you listeners, she literally face palms me out of the frame. She goes in. I'm just kidding. She does not.
That's kind of accurate. We walked in and you're like, hey, and I'm like, bye. I just took a...
And you walk away. We did that. But I love preview night too, because it's similarly, I have, my schedule is, for the last few years especially, it's kind of been packed on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And so it usually happens that Sunday afternoon and Wednesday preview night are the times that I have the chance to walk around the convention hall, shop, do some, look at some of the installations, the studio booths and that sort of thing. But I was shocked this year. Did you have the experience where you turned around and then they did the announcement that the exhibit hall was closing in 15 minutes? We went
I
in there,
think
and I was like, "Oh, look at the exhibit hall is closing in 15 minutes." What?
it's so funny. Okay, so we get 3 hours, which seems like a long time, but you're locked in. And then they do alerts. They say exhibit hall is closing in 30 minutes, 15, 5, and then they're all get out essentially. But yeah, sometimes it sneaks up on you where you're like, wait, I'm sorry, I don't have time. And then you're like furiously trying to get the last thing. And then, the exhibitors are trying to like box up, or sometimes they're trying to do their last sale, but it goes by so quickly and you're like, no, because it's like Christmas in July. It's like Christmas Eve or something. Like you're just so excited. You're just like, I want to get everything and I didn't get to go here. And then I saw somebody I wanted to talk to. And I literally was so bad. I went the opposite.
Spoiler alert, it was me.
And I saw a friend of mine and I went in the opposite direction. I love this person, but I didn't have time to talk to people. And so I was like, I'll talk to that person later. But sometimes you're just like, this is so cool. That's a buddy of mine, but like I have 20 minutes and I have to go do this thing. And I don't have time to talk to this person for 5 minutes. So there was actually a few people that I went in the other direction, and I don't think they saw me, so that was fine. But
Your podcast is being renamed "Hanging with Becky" (parentheses) except during preview night.
yeah, except during preview night if I see you and I don't have time to talk to you. So funny. But I did get some. There was actually. I want to shout out Hero Within. So that's like my favorite, one of my favorite companies. Tony Kim is become a friend of mine. He is the president of the company. They make a lot of Star Trek themed apparel. They have a license for it. They make these. I have like a bunch of jackets. I think I have 3 of their jackets. I have some of their shirts and like pins, and they're just extraordinary. Earlier this year, it was either earlier this year or last year, they mentioned that they weren't going to continue with the Star Trek license. It just got I think too expensive for them to do. And it was kind of devastating to know that. And then a few weeks before the con, they revealed that they became a sub-licensee of Factory Entertainment, which is like one of my favorite companies too. So they were back. And so they actually revealed some new apparel items, and I bought a Star Fleet Academy jacket when I was there. They also, this year is their 10-year anniversary. So you could buy a 10-year anniversary pin, or if you bought something, you got it for free. And then they also, if you caught Tony at a right time, he had a special 20th pin, which I'll talk about later because that was a whole thing. But anyway, I'm in this group of about 40 to 50 Star Trek fans that go. And we did Hall H together. It was a whole thing, but we're all huge fans of this company. And a lot of us ended up meeting up at this booth, because I ended up hanging out at the booth. I think 30 minutes of my 3 hours was just hanging out at this booth because I was like obsessed with it. And I talked to Tony, and then I ended up running into a bunch of my friends. And what was cool, which I didn't realize, one of my friends noticed, and a few days later, he told me, Tony on the front of his booth has photos of a bunch of, people wearing his jackets, and I'm on the front of his booth. I didn't even notice it I didn't even notice it that night. My friend Johnny told me, and he's like, oh my God, did you know we're on the front of his booth? And I'm like, wait, what? And then I went back on Sunday to finally look, and I'm like, don't know how I missed that. I was a picture of me on the front of his booth, which was really cool. But that was really exciting and actually I did spend a lot of time talking to my Star Trek friends and took a picture with Tony, because it was very heartwarming that he got the license back, and that he's going to be making in business with Star Trek for a long time, because his company means a lot to a lot of my friends. And like I said, I even bought one of his a new jacket. And I've teased him in the past that I'm putting his kids through school with all my purchases of his stuff, because his jackets are amazing. And there's a yellow jacket I have where I'm like a rock star at Comic-Con. Every time I wear it, people will stop me and, where'd you get that jacket? And it's really exciting. That happens quite a lot when I'm wearing it at Comic-Con. But anyway, that was like a real highlight for me on preview night, was going to that booth.
And I think I was trying to think back of what I got on. Sometimes these purchases blur together, but specifically on preview night, I went to Atomic Toy Box, They have all this cool retro, like 80s Mad Balls and My Pet Monster and all these things. And I saw ahead of time, they had two um, Garbage Pail Kids. They had a bunch of Garbage Pail Kids
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And they had a T-shirt that was the original card for New Wave Dave, which is the little punk rocker Garbage Pail Kid who's spray painting a wall, and he looks like he's like 80s Berlin punk scene or whatever. And his name's New Wave Dave. And I thought, well, I got to get that. And I
Yeah.
went to the booth, and as you know, my husband's name is Steve, and they only had like four shirts, and one of the other shirts I didn't know they had was TV Stevie, and so clearly I bought that one. And then of course I'm walking away, and they're like, well, what about patches? And then this whole wall of patches, and they're like blind pouches of patches, and I
Oh,
was like, do I
cool.
buy one or five or 10 or 50? I don't
Wait,
know.
how many did you buy?
I will not disclose it publicly. No, I
Okay.
bought one. I bought one, and
Okay.
it was Atom Bomb, so it was just
Oh,
like the
cool.
most iconic of
Yeah.
all Garbage Pail Kids. And
Yeah, I
so I had
asked
two
David,
jeans.
did they have Trekkie Becky? And he said they didn't have it there.
No, they did not have. They only had four. When I kind of like when I saw TV Stevie, I just like blacked
It's
out. I
so
was like, "That's
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
That's it." Yeah. So that was my preview night, and then I realized we're talking about locking in and going and seeing all this stuff, and I think back, and I'm like, you know what? I just went to see all my publishers and everybody I know, and I just spent all my time on preview nights just talking. I was too excited. I was too excited to shop. I just wanted to see everybody.
I love
So
that because you were super social on Wednesday night, and I was hiding from my friends, except for Tony and a lot of my Star Trek friends. I did, like I said, I had a little social half hour. I was hanging out at that booth for a little while, so I guess that was the exception. But I think that's really funny again to show the difference between you were like, I can't wait to see all my friends, and I was like, I need to shop. And I ended up buying 5 T-shirts that night. I bought this really cool Zelda shirt of Link, an 8-bit
I
Link,
was
which,
so mad when you
yeah,
showed that to me. I was like, what? Where is
David.
this? And I picked it up. I was like, how am I ever going to fit into a small?
So I went back to try to get one for David at the next day, and they only had like smalls for some reason. So it was great for me because I'm a small. But I also got like a Reading Rainbow shirt that
Oh,
a really cool Godzilla shirt, a Read Band books, and then an SS Minnow shirt, which is really fun. I posted all those on my Instagram of the 5 shirts. I actually bought from the weekend total. I looked at it. I got, let's see how many it was. I wrote it down somewhere. Oh my gosh, 8 shirts. I ended up with 8 shirts, 1 sweatshirt, and 1 jacket I bought. So I bought 10 apparel items for myself. So I went a little nuts. Anyway, with
I
my
think
shopping.
that's a light year, honestly.
So
There's
fun.
been years that you've come back with you lay them out on the king bed, and
Yeah.
there really isn't space because it's like 20 shirts.
Yeah, I bought a lot of shirts in the past. So I guess 10's not crazy. I mean, 8 shirts and then 2 apparel, but I have bought in a lot of stuff. I get a little nuts with shirts. When I told my friend that I bought a lot of shirts, and my friend Andrew is like, that's your brand. And I'm like, oh, it's a nice way. Thanks for feeding into my
It's true.
addiction. I need to
It's true.
be, yeah, enabled here. Anyway, all right. So that was Wednesday. That was the fun of Wednesday. And then Thursday is like one of the easiest. I think Thursday is a really fun day. It gets exponentially crazier as the convention goes, especially for me. I'm not sure about you, David, but Thursdays usually there's stuff that I do that's almost every year the same thing, but it's one of my favorite days. But it's definitely less stressful. And the Saturday is probably the most stressful of the days. Friday is kind of stressful too. Thursday, Friday was my darkest day, which we will get into. But
It wasn't dark at all. That's so funny. That's such poetry. You call it your darkest day because it was not.
but yeah, so Thursday, what I think I got up like that was probably the most sleep I got. So I got to that was and that for every that was like I got to the convention center I think at a normal hour. The convention opens at 9:30. Every other day, I was getting up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning. This was a day that I got up, I think, at 6, which was like a normal time. And then I think the first thing I had to do that day was go to one of your signings at Prism Comics. But is that the first thing you did on Thursday?
Yeah, so I had three signings on
Yeah.
Thursday. I had Prism Comics, which is LGBT. Somebody told me this at Comic-Con that Leslie Jones once called it LGBT qua, and I love that. And I love that. So
Remember
yeah,
when I forgot the G in
oh,
my
L B T Q I
I
A,
I I wrote
and
an
I was like,
Excel.
the
Okay,
only
yeah.
one.
So to explain this, I
Um,
write an Excel spreadsheet of my schedule, and David didn't. He's like, "Can I don't have anything." I'm like, "Well, I wrote down all your signings as part of my schedule. Do you want to have my schedule?" And he's like, "Sure." So I handed him my schedule, and he looked at my schedule, and I guess I had a typo, and it said LBTQIA, and he's like,
it's
why
like,
did you
how'd you
forget the
forget
G?"
the G? One
I did
job.
one
No.
job. I somehow
um,
forgot the G, but anyway.
so LGBTQ publisher, and I had a signing there. It was kind of like an open signing where you could just sign any of the work that I have, any books that I have that they carry. If you could bring your own, whatever. And then I had a signing for Dungeons and Dragons at Dark Horse Comics because back like 2023, I had written a couple of runs of the Dungeons and Dragons Saturday Morning Adventures, which are new adventures starring old friends, the whole crew from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon series from the 80s. And Dark Horse recently has published this beautiful big. If you're watching YouTube, I'm holding up a visual aid right now. It's
It's
this beautiful big
gorgeous.
hardcover library edition that they've collected everything. So we did a signing for that at Dark Horse,
Wait, could you have
and then
bought that at the convention?
yeah, I guess you
I
had two
missed
jobs, didn't you?
I missed the sighting because I was in Hall H at the Avatar Aang panel. So that was one of the
Oh,
sightings I missed of David. So I would have bought it and had you sign it, but I missed
well,
it. Sorry.
it's a lot. It's a heavy book. It's a heavy lift. So you can actually get it anywhere books are sold.
Maybe I'll buy
So
one and then you can sign it for me.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how close we get to next Comic Con. Um, yes, of course. So I had that, and then I have a creator-owned series that's kind of like it's called Kanto. I'm holding it up right here. There's a brand new ongoing series that was just announced from Dark Horse. It's going to start in November. This guy's been around, little 3 foot tall, Clockwork Knight, kind of vibes of Jim Henson and like Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Neverending Story, Secret of Nim, all the stuff we loved as kids. They just announced a new ongoing, so I'm going to be. I Drew, the co-creator and artist on it, and I were doing a signing at Dark Horse for that big announcement, and I think that was the sum total of my Thursday, and uh,
Really?
yeah, and I'm pretty sure I might have had some stuff that was not
We
that was
went
my non-public schedule, but
You went to the lodge, which I didn't get to go to, but I went on the next day because that was
was
Thursday.
that was that Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, it was Thursday because I went in the morning. So um, I'll work it
Oh my
in.
God,
So
it's
yeah,
Thursday. It was
yeah.
Thursday.
So the I went to Avatar Aang panel and Hall H. Hall H panels on Thursday are great because you can pretty much any of them, no matter how popular they are, you can walk in. It was exciting that Avatar Aang, which is the new movie, it's based on Avatar: Last Airbender. It takes place as they're teenagers. It came out this last weekend. It was supposed to be a theatrical release. Paramount bumped it up to be streaming. It released this weekend. I still haven't seen it yet. They did have a 1 week qualifying run in the theaters this week, but it was all booked and I couldn't get a single ticket to it, but they did have a panel around it, which was exciting. Last year they had an Airbender panel in Ballroom 20 and it was packed. So it was exciting that Hall H has about 2,000 more seats than Ballroom 20. So it's exciting. So there's plenty of places to sit. That was a cool panel. And actually, are in 2 weeks, the 2 episodes from now, we are doing an episode on that streaming movie. So watch it on Paramount Plus. I feel like it was okay to do it because it was originally intended for theatrical and it pivoted to streaming. But yeah, if you want to listen to the episode and watch that movie, get ready, watch it, and then you can listen to our episode in 2 weeks. But I went to that, and that was when David was signing Dungeons and Dragons, so I missed it. But then I came back because you had a Canto signing at 2, and that was what you just said. And then I had the Her Universe fashion show is on Thursday night. It's one of my favorite. It's like I've been going, I think it's 12 plus years now. I go every year. I got in a press pass, which is very exciting. So I had to run down to get my press pass. And then I had to come back at 3 for, I'm in a Star Trek group we call it the Star Trek LA Away Team. And we had a big photo, a group photo. So I ran back to get that photo. And then David was going to go to the lodge, and then that kind of went awry, but it was okay. So you went to the lodge.
Yeah, I got to go into the lodge for the first time ever. So the nature of my Comic-Con has evolved over 18 years, and I'm now as of recently, it's harder to like wait in line to go into things just because I can't devote. I don't know, how long did you wait in line for in the morning to get into the lodge?
Yeah, so just to explain what the lodge is Paramount Plus for I think 4 or 5 years now, maybe 4 years. They have this outside activation, so pretty much anyone could go. They don't need a pass. Outside of Comic-Con, it's called the Lodge, and it's called the Paramount Plus Lodge, like it's a hotel or like, a lodge. And then they always have some cool photo ops and cool things inside based on their properties. It's very hard to get tickets. Tickets go by like instantly. It's impossible. One year I got, Paramount gave all the Star Trek away team access to get tickets before it opened to the public because it was a huge Star Trek segment and they wanted to make sure that Star Trek fans could go. So that was exciting because when you have a ticket, which is what David had, it's amazing because then you have a time and it says come back at 3 or 4 or whatever, you have a time. You just show up at that time, you get to go in. And then if you don't have a time ticket, which are very hard to get, there's a thing called a standby line, and that they only take about 5 to 10 people per hour slot into the standby line. So you could be out there for hours and hours and hours. We like to go when my friend Johnny and I we like to go to the first, the beginning of the day. So we don't have to stay in line all day. So my friend Johnny on Friday morning got in line at 5 a.m. and I got in line at 7. And I brought coffee though for us. And then but because Johnny got in line at 5, there's only 2 people in front of us. So we're guaranteed to get in because they're going to let us in because they let in 5 to 10 people. So we got in, and it was actually my favorite part of of Comic-Con, which I'll talk about in a second. But so he was in line for 4 hours. I was in line for 2, but David just could show up. So he was lucky.
4 hours.
Well, some people are in line for longer.
I know.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize either. So this lodge is phenomenal. I just have never had a chance to go in there. So I went in, and you go in, and the first room you experience is an Avatar themed fun, which you got some great snaps from there. I got a pose where I was an earthbender, and somehow I positioned my hands exactly the right way where I was levitating rocks, and I was like, if this is how the rest of the day is going to go, I'm in.
Yeah, you could pick which nation you wanted, and I picked Fire Nation, and you picked Earth?
Earth Kingdom, yeah.
Okay.
So so I posed and it just worked. I'm like, all right, let's go.
You have to show that to me. I don't think I saw that picture. That's exciting.
Yeah, and you go in, we went in and did the rest of the Avatar. I know there's one.
It's Republic Avatar. City Marketplace. If you know, it's really, that's where Korra takes place. But it's the Republic City Marketplace. You get to walk through, and yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was recreation of that you went through.
There's a running bit, a running joke about the cabbage seller who's
Cabbage Man. Yeah.
Cabbage Man, who constantly gets knocked over no matter what's going on. And so there's a photo op where the cabbage cart, you hold it and it's like it rolls off.
It's
So
really fun.
that was really fun. And
If
then you
you're an
go in,
Airbender fan, it's awesome.
yeah, and we could talk about my Friday signing, which was for Avatar: The Legends. So I actually wrote it. So I'm now steeped in Avatar because I wrote a short story for Avatar. So that was fun to see it come to life in the Paramount Lodge. Uh,
Yeah.
then we went in. You go in farther, and I think it was Landman, which I didn't really. I was kind of
Yeah.
like swipe, love you Paramount, but
Yeah, there's different properties. So if you don't care about some of them or not into them, then you can spend more time doing the other ones. Obviously, I cared the most about Star Trek and Avatar, Last Airbender. So I spent like 90% of my time engaged in those. I didn't care about South Park or UFC or Landman. You did interact with the South Park though.
I did because there was a fork in the road, and there was a choice of two side quests. One side quest was South Park, and one side quest was UFC. And anybody, and you know me, so you know that it was just a like smoke outline of me running into the South Park attraction. It was really fun. There was just a lot of cutouts, and I got this great photo with Towley, where he's got a little. I was giving him a little sip of my drink because he had a little cotton mouth.
Oh, that was a
So
cute photo.
that was it. So that was fun. And then I went into the Trek side, and I was like, "What is this?
It was exciting.
What?"
That's the first time. So because they always have a bar area, and that you when you get in, you can get two drinks. I think it's two alcoholic drinks or something. I usually
And
just get
one,
obviously
yeah,
or and one normal drink. I always just end up getting Coke or whatever because I don't drink. But the bar, I think this is the first time. I could be wrong, but I believe this is the first time the bar was themed to be Star Trek, and it was at Strange New Worlds above the bar, and it was like you were the port galley of the ship, and they even had like an Orion slave girl as the DJ. That was really exciting because the whole half of the lodge was just you could just hang out in there and get drinks, and they had Star Trek 60 napkins, and they also had a photo op where you could transport on the ship, and that was really fun. David's was like amazing.
I crushed it. I was like,
You
I don't
crushed
know what
it.
this is, and then it went, and it was just. I had a hunch of what would happen. The DJ, were you in there when the DJ would played the saxophone live?
No, I didn't. I was
Hmm.
doing other things, so that didn't happen when I was there, or I
Oh my
missed
God.
it.
And what, so it was phenomenal. And I had a great time. What I did not understand is the structure of it.
Mm.
That, so I discovered that, and Becky, you know this is the way it works. So on the top of the hour, they let the group, whoever in for that 50 minutes, right?
It's 50
And you're
minutes you have.
in, and again, it was like preview note for me where I looked up and then like 15 minutes left. I was just vibing with this place. And then the lights come up, and I'm like, "What? It's a raid! Police! It's a raid!" And I was like, "What's happening?" And my friend Jason, shout out to Jason and Sabrina, they were the ones who orchestrated this hijinks. And Jason's like, "Oh yeah, the time is up." And so there was a guy, I didn't even tell you this. There was one of the, so literally the bartenders, everybody's like, we got to clean this up in 10 minutes. And there was one of the barbacks or managers or something brought out the vacuum. What's the vacuum? I'm now blanking on the brand. Um, it's the one you plug in. It's battery
Yeah.
powered. So he brought it out and he's running it. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, that's the Zamboni. As he's pushing everybody out the door, like we're all detritus on the ice. And I was like, wow, this is so yeah, 50 minutes. You have a 50-minute window,
Yeah.
which means if they let you in with only 10 minutes left on the 50 minutes from the standby line, you only got 10 minutes to do all that fun, right?
Well, they don't do that. No. So what they do is they let everybody in that's timed entry. And then so they start the standby in line in about 10 minutes later. So you have about 40 minutes.
40
And ideally
minutes.
you get 50 minutes, but usually they'll let in everybody and then you get 40 minutes. They won't let in everybody after 10 minutes. So the bummer about being in the standby line in the past and what was great about the lodge this year was there usually is some part of the lodge that is, they cap a line. Something really cool is in the lodge and it's capped. So if you're standby line, you're never getting in because by the time you get in, they've already capped the line. They did one year, they did Star Trek caricatures where they drew a picture of you with whatever like Starfleet uniform you wanted. It was so cool. And I got in twice and I couldn't get in because it line is capped. There's always some cool photo op or something where it's capped. That was what was the beauty of the lodge this year. There really wasn't anything super exclusive like that where it was capped. So you could pretty much do everything you wanted. Oh yeah. Last year that you could go on like the ship of, I think it was Strange New Worlds. There was some cool activation and I couldn't get in. So I don't even know what it looked like. But this year was great because the Star Trek stuff was the port galley. They had the transporter photo op. They had another side photo op where it looked like you were going on like a planet and you could go in. And then because the line was pretty, not a lot of people wanted to do the Star Trek photo op. My friend Johnny and I went through twice and the woman trolled me both times. The first time I went in was with Johnny and she goes, wow, you're real happy to be on this planet. And I'm like, okay, thanks. Because I guess I smiled too much. And then when I went in again, I thought it'd be funny to look like I had like, you know, a tricorder. So I got my phone out, like I was like surveying the planet. And she's like, it looks like you're trying to get reception. And I was like, okay. Like, I don't know why she was trolling me, but I was like, what's happening?
I pretended that I was eating one of the mushrooms.
Oh, that's fun.
Of me going,
oh, see, yours are. David's like the most photogenic person on the planet. So anytime he's the best person. He makes the best photos. I'm like a disaster when it comes to photos. So of course your photos were great, but I got trolled for both the photos I did and by the woman that working there. And then the other cool thing, which was a lot of people didn't talk about, was there was a model ship in the corner. That model ship was on loan from the Roddenberry Institute, and like that's the real ship, the real model ship from the Star Trek original series.
Right.
And so that was cool to be able to see the real ship there. So if you were a Star Trek fan, the lodge was amazing. And then the fact that I was able to do all the things that I wanted to for Star Trek. And then the Avatar stuff was they had like you could pick your own sign, like firebending, whatever. I did. You know, I picked Firebird and you pick Earth, and they had the Republic City cabbage thing. So I was in heaven, and actually I did the lodge on Friday morning. Like I got in line really early, and that was, I think, if you asked me what my highlight of my Comic-Con was, it was the lodge. And then you awesome. Enjoyed it too, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I loved being able to see it after all these years. That was great.
Yeah. And then so I didn't do the lodge until Friday morning, but while David was in the lodge, I ran over to the Her Universe fashion show, which is always one of my favorite parts of Comic-Con. Ashley Eckstein created a company called Her Universe, which she calls Geek Couture. She does, it used to just be apparel for geeky apparel made for women. So it's the coolest stuff ever, because a lot of times one of my friends and I used to complain like 15 years ago about how all the cool geeky stuff was just cut for guys and was men's clothing and never had cool girl stuff. Well, she made a whole line of clothes. Now she's opened up, she's making it for men too. It's an amazing line. She's extraordinary. And she has a fashion show now, I think going on 10 years at the Manchester Grand Hyatt, and I got lucky enough to get a press pass to go. I love it. There's a DJ. Her name is DJ Amanda Jones. She always DJs the event, and she's my favorite DJ. She's amazing, and I just love sitting there listening to all the music she picks out. And then the fashion show is always so fun. They always give you a cool goodie bag. I got a cool little like blind box of a DC character. I got Batman. Some people got Batgirl or Superman, and it was just a fun night. And then after the Her Universe fashion show, I usually don't have plans on Thursday night. It always works out where like all my plans are every night but Thursday. So I was joking to my friend Andrew for the conference, and I said, yeah, I go. Usually I'm in my room on Thursday night eating Chipotle while David's at some law thing. And he's like, what law thing? And then I almost laughed out loud because I asked you where you were going, and where did you say you were going on Thursday night? It was a law thing. What was it?
It was it's a party sponsored by CBLDF, which is the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. Yes. And it's on the rooftop of, you nailed it, you got it. It's on the rooftop of the Westgate.
It was just so funny when I was talking to him. I'm like, yeah, I'm usually eating Chipotle in the hotel room by myself, like a sad sack, while David's at some law thing. And he's like,
A
what law
sad
thing?
sack.
Anyway, it's fine. I have fun the rest of the con. It's just like the one night where like I don't have anything usually. And usually because I'm at the fashion show until like 8:30. So, and I'm
Yeah.
usually pretty tired. But yeah, that was my Thursday. Do you have anything else Thursday you wanted to highlight before we get to Friday?
No, I think we should move right to Friday
Yeah.
because Friday was as exciting or more exciting than Thursday was.
So Friday morning for me, I already really pretty much went through. My friend Johnny got in line at 5 a.m. for the lodge. I got in line at 7 with him, and I brought coffee. And then we did the lodge, and it was amazing. And I really went through that. And then we also went straight to another activation outside the con, which was called. It was. It was Starfleet Command had like an archives, and it was all of it was props and costumes from every single original series, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine. It was awesome. They had a claw machine which you could try to get like a collectible. Everybody around me was like 20 people in line, nobody could get it, and they're all, this is rigged. And then I went right up and I got it right away, and everyone's like, how did you do that? I got lucky. And I got a Star Trek 60 pin, which was kind of among my Star Trek friends that at the conference, everybody wanted a Star Trek 60 pin. And so that was really cool. And then at the very end of it, I got, and I'll show it on YouTube, that you got to pick, and if you can see, I have it online too. You got to take a photo, and you could pick if you wanted to be original series or Cardassian or whatever, and then choose. I wanted to be a captain, and then it's like your own trading card, and then they make a digital trading card for you and give you a physical one. It looks like a baseball card. It was the coolest thing I got at Comic-Con. So that was what I did on Friday morning. So during all that, I missed. You had a few panels.
Well, I think it's such
that I
a it's
missed.
such a perfect example of how we go to Comic-Con together, but just these wildly different experiences. Because you are in line for the Paramount Lodge, and then you went to this Star Trek exhibit, and you did all this cool stuff. I'm back at the convention hall because I had at 10 a.m. I was on a panel called Splash Pages, side quests and Splash Pages, or Splash Pages and Side Quest, and it was a panel of like writers, creators, comics creators. There was a voice actor on there. Just talk, and there was some folks who were in the video game space, talking about the overlap between comics and video games, and comics that were adapted into video games, and video games that were adapted into comics, and sort of how that all works. And I'm a huge retro video game fan, so I write comics and TV and movies during my day job, and then at night, my hobby is just like retro video games. I love it. So this was a perfect panel for me, and I was on there. We had a great time, really nice turnout. And then in the early afternoon, I had another panel, which is the LGBT qua, now that we all know what that is, activism in comics. So I got to talk about how a fantastic panel talking about how we deal with and incorporate LGBTQ plus issues in creator-owned stories and licensed stories, how we navigate licensors and studios and all that kind of thing, to advocate for the things we care about. So those two fantastic panels. In fact, I just found out yesterday that I think Comics Beat covered the LGBTQ plus activism in comics. They actually, somebody published an article because they were in the audience, and they did a recap on Comics Beat about this panel, which I thought was really cool. Right, recording
that's
everybody,
amazing.
and that was awesome. So I was busy cooking in the convention hall in the rooms for panels while you were out on.
I was really cooking in real life. So from 12
was
to
that
4.
Friday?
Yes.
That was Friday.
So this is
what a segue. Let's go.
This is the darkest moment I had where,
brightest.
Okay.
It's the brightest moment.
So fun. So, okay, we're going to get into Hall H. So I Saturday Hall H this year, they had Marvel at the end of the day, which usually means you have to get the Hall H fits 6,500 people. The Hall H has a system in place now where you can get wristbands by the end of the night. So you have to line up and you get your wristband to get into Hall H the next day. They start them at 7:30, but you have to get in line. I used to get in line, but with just like one person or by myself. And Johnny, who is like my Comic-Con wingman these days, through all the panels and stuff, I met him in a Hall H line years ago. David calls him Johnny on the spot.
I didn't realize he was your wingman. It's going to be Highlander up in here, and there could be only one.
I know. He's not my wingman, but like he's the guy that I do all my panels and stuff with. And he actually spent a lot of Thursday.
Sounds a lot like a wingman.
Well, Thursday he's so sweet because he'll like he did Thursday. He's like, I said I wanted to go to Avatar, and he's like, yeah, let's just go. Like he doesn't even watch Avatar, and he went with me and he sat in Hall H with me. So he'll do things with me that he doesn't care about or whatever, just to hang out with me. He's really sweet. And then he'll do the things like he got in line at 5 a.m. And then let me roll in at 7 a.m. But he's a sweetheart. So anyway, we are part of this thing, the Star Trek group called LA Away Team. And like, it's a system where the more and more people you know, the more easier it is to like wait in line. I used to wait in line by myself. Like I said, I met Johnny in line. It's great if you could have somebody because someone could wait in line while you're going to the bathroom. So Hall H has a system where if you're in line, you can hold a place for two other people. So what happens is with my Star Trek LA Away Team, we create a Excel spreadsheet, decide who's doing what, and we create it shifts. So it's a lot easier to wait in Hall H now, because you could do shifts. You're not in line all day. So Johnny and I picked different shifts, and then we were told, you need to do the 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. shift, which we didn't realize was the most horrific shift you could have that day. But we both were like, it's fine. And they're all, I remember Yaz, who organized it, told me, you're going to be with Johnny. And so is that okay? And I said, sure. And then I cut to Johnny told me that she used me. And she said, Johnny, you'll be with Becky. And he's like, okay. So she kind of used both of us as a way to say yes, which is hilarious. Anyway, 12 to 4 was hell because it was literally hotter than the surface of the sun. I was out there for 4 hours with, a bunch of Star Trek fans. A lot of Star Trek fans got in line from 5 a.m. So they were like 5 to 10. And then there was like, 8 to 12, and then we were 12 to 4. And then everybody has to reconvene at 7 o'clock. And then everyone's in line until we get wristbands. Anyway, 12 to 4 was the worst because it was so hot. And it was also so humid at Star Trek at the convention this year. So anyway, we were in a period where we were on the grass, not least we were on the cement. And it was right under the sun. And I had a fan. At one point, I had the fan going. And then someone gave Johnny a umbrella. And then at one point, this woman gave me a straw hat. So I thought I was okay until I wasn't okay. So I was sitting there. And at one point, an hour, I think I was there for 90 minutes. And I totally lost it because all of a sudden I was so uncomfortable. And I started to like hallucinate, I think. And all I could think about was how much I wanted a Pepsi. Like it was like my mirage. And I just couldn't, all I wanted was a cold Pepsi so bad. And then at one point, Johnny's like, hey, he wanted water. And he's like, you want me to go get you a Pepsi? There's like a thing. So he offered to go get me a Pepsi. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And then he went to get one near us. And there was like an hour wait. It was something crazy.
Did he just look like a giant talking Pepsi at that point?
I pretty much. But then he came back and he's like, the line's insane. I can't get one. And I wanted one so bad. And I was so miserable that I was like, I'm at the point where I even said to him, like, I think I would at this point spend $1,000 if someone had a Pepsi. And then at one point I was like, I think I will sell my body for a Pepsi at this point. I was so desperate for a Pepsi that's what happened. So then I was like, I can't do it. So I couldn't take it anymore. And I'm like, I have to get a Pepsi. So I got up and I said, I will be back. I promise. I just have to get a Pepsi. And they're like, okay, Becky. So I got up and once I started walking, I started feeling better. I passed 2 food vendors who had water, ice cold water, like they're making like hot dogs and stuff. And one of them had a Coke, and it was ice cold Coke. And I was like, F you. I don't want a Coke. I wanted a Pepsi. At this point, I didn't even care anymore. I just needed a Pepsi. So I walked all the way back to our hotel. I ended up in the like lobby area, the snack area, and I got a Pepsi. It was probably the best Pepsi of my life. It was like the elixir of the gods. I was just everything I ever wanted. And then I realized, and then it was like, once I had the Pepsi in me, I was thinking, did I just almost try to sell my body for a Pepsi? And it was like all the things that happened that I was just like, I almost blacked out. Anyway, Johnny really wanted ice cold water, so I got him one of those. So I got back, and actually I felt a lot better. And then one of the guys in line named Alan had a game called Settlers of Catan or Catan.
Yeah.
I don't know how to spell. So there was a Star Trek version. So he taught us how to do it. So for the rest of the 2+ hours, Johnny, Alan, and I sat there and played Settlers of Catan, a Star Trek version, and I won, by the way. And Johnny screwed me because he I had all the dilithium crystal, and he like killed one of the planets that I was on, and like a bird of prey took over. But you know what? I won, and that was exciting. But once I got that Pepsi into me, it helped fuel me. And then after we got through our shift, I ran over because my shift was done at 4. Your Canto signing was at 3:30. So I caught the tail end of it. I think, or maybe it was the day before.
Or was it Avatar? It was Avatar at that point.
Oh, you know what? I did.
Yeah.
I missed the Canto one. Thursday, I got the tail end of Canto, and I did a video, and it's on my Instagram. But then we went to the Avatar signing, and I actually still have to post a video of you guys doing that because that was really cool. And that was Dark Horse as well.
Yeah, and it was such a nobody like passed out. Nobody offered to sell themselves for a Pepsi, so in line. So it wasn't quite. I don't know if it was quite the same experience, but it was a great. We had a great turnout, a great signing. It was a whole group of Avatar writers and artists who were in this anthology. So yeah, that was a great moment on Friday. And
Yeah. Oh, I did make the Canto panel. So I ran over because you guys weren't at Dark Horse. You were at another table.
Yeah. So
Drew.
we were over in Small Press. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
you
went over
came up
and
there.
I went over there and got to see Dreamy Drew again. And then you guys had that plush Canto and we saw it, and I got to see you guys.
That's
And I
right.
think I told you that it was hotter than the surface of the sun. And
Which I've used that phrase many, many times because I am talking to you from Las Vegas, and it was 115 today. So I'm
oh,
like, oh, it's hotter than the surface of the sun. Yeah, so I didn't have quite the survival scenario on Friday, I guess. My survival scenario came on Saturday, which we'll talk about.
oh yeah. Saturday's a whole thing. But for Friday, I got at 7 o'clock, I got back in line with all the Star Trek fans. All of us reconvened. We all got our wristbands. We got wristband B. So that meant as soon as we got a wristband, that meant that we could go back to our hotel rooms, get sleep. And then we decided we were going to reconvene the next morning at 5 a.m., which meant that I got up at 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. So that's what happens with David. He hears the door slam, or I try to close the door slowly. I get up at 3 a.m., get ready, exit the hotel room, and he never sees me for the rest of the day on Saturday. So I got back in line at 5 a.m. With all the Star Trek fans. That was a whole experience for me for a variety of reasons. So we'll I don't know if you want to talk about your Saturday morning, but I can talk about my panel and everything that had to go right on Saturday.
Oh my God, yeah. No, because my Saturday morning was your panel.
Oh, I forgot
That was
which
the
my
first thing I had.
yeah. Oh, that's
Was
nice. You got to roll out of
yeah,
bed and go to
the
that.
first thing that I had
Oh
was
yeah.
your what time? 10, 11?
So here's the thing. I got asked to be on a panel on Saturday, and it was something I had to grapple with because Saturday is my favorite day of Comic-Con. I like Hall H. I knew there was going to be a Star Trek panel. Star Trek was having their 60th anniversary this year, so I knew there was going to be an amazing panel. All I cared about was a Star Trek panel. And I went back and forth. I even talked to David when I got asked to be on this panel. That was Saturday. It was going to be at
It was like
San
months
Diego.
ago, right?
Yeah, it
It
was
was like
months
months
ago
before.
at the San Diego Library, a few blocks away. And if it was Friday or Thursday, I would have easily said yes, but I didn't know what to do because I was like, what are the odds that I could do both? It's very slim that I could do both. And I was like,
And it was like You'll be fine. Whatever your choice is, you'll be fine. Just don't worry about it for the next 2 months.
Yeah, and David
And
actually
what did
was
I
like,
hear about for the next 2 months?
so funny. Well, David essentially was like, maybe you should say no because it's going to be too much anxiety. And then I talked to some friends, and my friend Andrew, who I mentioned a few times, was like, you should do it. And I'm like, yeah, I think I think it's good for me to do it. So I decided to do it. And then I got, if you guys listen to the Masters of the Universe episode, Jamie asked me about it, and he said, oh, you're going to skip Hall H then. And I said, no, I'm going to try to figure it out. But it was kind of insane that I could do both. It was, and then even I posted about my panel, and Jamie sent another message on Twitter and said, "Oh, is this first year going to miss Hall H?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to try to make it work." I tried. My first option was I asked a friend who worked at CBS; she couldn't get me in, my hope, my greatest hope, was that I could get a bathroom pass to get back into Hall H. So what happens in Hall H is that if you can't do there's bathrooms inside Hall H, but sometimes it's too crazy. So you are able to exit and go to a bathroom outside. They have printed passes that allow you to re-enter Hall H within the time of the panel. So the first panel of the day started at 11:15. My panel started at 11 a.m. and I was in line all day, and I had the wristband. It was nuts. The whole way I had to get inside Hall H by 10:30. If I didn't get inside Hall H by 10:30, it was not going to work, because I had to meet in front of the San Diego Library at 10:45. So I had to get inside. So they started filling up Hall H around 9:30. I kept looking at my watch. Am I going to get in? All my friends were pulling for me, hoping this was going to work out. At one point, I was talking to somebody in line in front of me, and right before when they started filling it up, it got to like 10:21, and I'm like, I have to abandon this line if I don't get in by 10:30, and then my day is ruined. I won't be in a Hall H. This person in front of me, this couple, was like, hey, jump in front of us. So they let me into, and they just heard, because I was like with 50 Star Trek fans. I got in front of them. I gained 5 minutes. I would have gotten into Hall because I was the chute below, but I gained 5 minutes by letting them jump in front of them. I walked into Hall H at 10:28 a.m. I walked in they kept trying to redirect me to my seats, and I'm like, no, I'm going to get food. I went around, went straight to the bathroom pass, and my hope was that I could get a bathroom pass if they didn't have one. My other hope was I was going to do a plea with them, and I knew that wasn't going to work, where I was going to say, I have a wristband. I got in I was inside. I'm only leaving. Look, my name is in the program. I'm only leaving because I'm going to be on a panel, and hope they took pity on me. I pretty much knew that was not going to fly, but I got lucky. I went to outside. They had the panel passes for 11:15 to 12:15, which meant as long as I got back into the hall by 12:15, then I was golden. What was great is my panel was from 11 to 11:50. So I knew that as long as I hoofed it back, I could get back in time, and the Star Trek panel was at 12:30. So everything had to go perfectly, and it did. It was amazing. So I left Hall H with my bathroom pass. I went across this whole bridge. I walked 2 blocks. By the time I got to the panel, I was supposed to meet
sweating. It's
yes.
Like it's already like 85
so
degrees.
Hot. It was so gross.
Is 98%. Yes. I walked over there too.
Yeah.
And it was just horrible.
It was horrible. I had to meet the panelists at 10:45 in front of the library. I got there at 10:38, and I immediately asked the staff, where's your nicest bathroom? And really what I meant was a plug. I needed a plug because I was going to try to fix my hair with a flat iron. I got in there, attempted to fix my hair the best I could. I was sweating. It was disgusting. I did the best I could do. I left at 10:50, and my hall with the panelists were already in the room. I sat down thinking I looked semi-decent. I looked awful. I looked like Quasimodo. I didn't realize how bad I looked until I saw photos later. But the panel was okay.
I was sitting in the audience.
But David came to my panel. And it went
well.
I
took all those photos. I would not have taken photos if I didn't think you were photo worthy.
That's very nice, but I've noticed I didn't use any of the photos because I look like a disaster. But okay.
But I still have them.
I know. You're going to blackmail me with photos.
Burn them, right? No, it was a fantastic panel. The panel was the topic was essentially the future of theatrical exhibition of movies.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a wide array of panelists with different backgrounds. I thought you were you're always so thoughtful, but I thought particularly on this panel, you just inspired um, such a love for movies. So
Aw.
that's kind of when I listen to Hang with Becky, the other episodes, and some of the other film podcasts I listen to from our friends. I just get so inspired to love movies even more, and
Oh, that's
um,
so sweet.
I
Thank
feel like you
you.
were the one on the panel whose passion came through on passion for movies and theatrical, and I think that's what ultimately is going to be the biggest the saddest part if movies don't get to go to theatrical release anymore is that there's so many people out there with your passion to go see movies in the theater. So yeah, it
Aw.
was good.
Thank you.
I'm glad you hoofed it over there. I'm glad
Oh my
I hoofed it
God.
over there. We
Yeah, it
were
was so
both were covered
sweet
in
to
sweat. It
have.
was crazy.
It's so sweet to have you there because everybody, all my friends were in Hall H. So like they couldn't leave. I mean, I was a miracle that I got out of Hall H, got back in. So like Johnny couldn't come. Like none of my friends could come, but David's doesn't do Hall H. So, and it worked out that he didn't have conflict. So it meant so much to me that you were there. It was cool. We talked about like our favorite formats in the theater. We talked about the future of theatrical exhibition. It was great. So as soon as it was over, I asked David to take some photos of me. And then I was just like destroyed when I saw how awful I looked. And then we took more photos. And then I hoofed it back to Hall H. I got inside Hall H. My pass, I had to get in by 12:15. I got in at 12:11. I barely made it with 4 minutes to spare. Star Trek panel started at 12:30. I walked in. I was texting my Star Trek friends and I couldn't find a seat. And they said, "Oh no, we got you, Becky. We saved you a seat." They're the best. So they told me where they were, plopped down next to my friend Johnny and some of my other Star Trek friends. And I just was what they call a camper, is when you're inside Hall H, you don't leave for the rest of the day and let everything parade in front of you. The rest of the day, Star Trek panel was extraordinary. They had it was called the 60th anniversary. They had all of the cast from like Next Gen and original series and Strange New Worlds and Deep Space Nine. And then they had an hour that was dedicated to Strange New Worlds. They had an Apple panel with Widow's Bay, and they talked about the new movie, the Matchbox Car movie, and Silo. And then they had another panel, and then they had Marvel, which was nuts to be there for the Marvel panel. Meanwhile, I didn't know there was this whole nightmare outside of Hall H where there's a big controversy and they're still trying to figure it out. But it seems like maybe there was counterfeit bands and some people make counterfeit bands.
Hmm.
So there a lot of people who had the wristbands didn't get in and were outside all day trying to get in. And they didn't get in, even though if they got in by 7:30, you're kind of, that means you're likely getting in. And I think it's because there was hundreds of people who got in and they weren't supposed to. So I didn't know all the drama was going outside. I really feel for those people. But the Marvel panel was nuts, was insane. One thing they did, which they've never done, is they said, "Hey, we figure the back row should be the front row." And all of a sudden they dropped all the drapes in the back row. And it was like literally everybody that's in Doomsday, like Tom Holland, and everybody was behind us in the back row, and three sections of Hall H. People were like losing their minds. They gave every single person in the Hall H got a Doctor Doom costume. So a lot of people donned the costumes for a big selfie with the Doctor Doom costumes. I did not put mine on. And I'm not a big Marvel fan, but it was really exciting to be there. As exciting always to be around everybody losing their minds and seeing it. Um, Ryan Coogler was there and he announced a new Black Panther movie. And I can't remember his name, but the guy that's going to be in it is from The Long Walk, and he was the best part of that movie. So it was a really exciting thing. And I got to do all of it. It's insane that I said yes to this panel, was able to get inside, leave, come back. And everything had to work for it to happen. And it did. It was nuts. And I'm so
That's great.
lucky. Yeah.
That's so great. That's a con miracle.
I know. And then what happened while I was in Hall H for you? Were you doing anything crazy?
I mean, I don't know how I top any of that. um, I did have my moment of the con was on Saturday night though,
Yeah.
when I did the panel, the
Masters of the
MOTU, the
Universe.
Master Universe panel. I'm just looking at my schedule right now. Yeah, I did the Masters of the Universe panel. So I was asked to be on this Masters of the Universe panel, and it's about Masters of the Universe and beyond the toys over the years. And I have not worked in the Motu universe. I have not worked on anything like that. I just was a fan as a kid. I enjoyed the movie, the new movie. I saw the '80s movie, the original Master of the Universe, and loved that because I was 8 or whatever it came out. So I'm like, how do I? But they invited me on because the moderator wanted somebody who had worked in like these kind of IP spaces like Dungeons and Dragons and Ghostbusters and all these other things, and who is also a fan. So I could just kind of speak to the fandom and that sort of thing. And I was like, that doesn't. I don't know. I need something. I need something. I need a little hook. I need something. So I was so there was another friend. There's a couple of friends of mine on this panel. One of the friends of mine is my friend Teddy, who is a huge toy guy. He's a huge toy fan, and he's a huge Motu fan, and he's worked Masters of the Universe in the shows that are on Netflix. And so my core memory, this is the story I told on this panel, and it was just such a moment. It was such a moment.
It's such a great
When
story.
when I have a twin brother, and when we were kids, we had all these Masters of the Universe action figures. And for some reason, they all vanished except for one, and it was Grizzlor. And Grizzlor is this action figure that has real fur. It's like he's kind of like a little he's a little squatchy little guy, and he has real fur. And the only place that we had left was the snake pit, where you put the action figure into it, and there's a snake head, and you put slime on the top, and the slime comes down, and you can slime your action figures. And of course, we're like 10, so Grizzlor plus Snake Pit, it's it. And we
Yeah.
did it, and that slime completely destroyed Grizzlor, our last standing action figure, and he was just toast. Toast. So I'm telling the story, the room's full, and I said, that was my core memory. And I said, the coda to this is I was walking around WonderCon with my friend Teddy, and I pointed down at the other end of the dais, and he's on the other end of the panel, and he's like, oh yeah. And he goes, actually, did you know that there was a instruction booklet they packed in that said specifically, do not put Grizzlor into the snake pit? Do not use slime on the Grizzlor? And I was like, shut up, there's no way. And I went, and he's like, oh yeah. And so I went on eBay and I looked it up, and I had this at the panel. I pulled this out and I said, here it is. I have it right here, visual aid. If you're watching, if you're listening on the pod, I'm holding up a pamphlet that says, How to Care for Your Slime, Mattel 1985. And it is a booklet that came with the slime. And I read this to the whole panel, the whole audience. I went, this is what it says. Beware, not much scares slime, but there are a few Masters of the Universe characters which it simply won't, in parentheses, and should, all caps, never, parentheses, go near. Keep slime away from, and I paused, and the whole audience went, Grizzlor. And here it is. It's freaking Grizzlor. He's right there,
Crazy.
covered in fur.
I told
And
you.
it was just such a fun moment. So at the end of the panel, I actually had everybody on the panel, including the head of Mattel's animation division and theatrical division, who handles all this stuff. He loved it. And I had everybody on the panel sign my How to Care for Your Slime. So now I'm going to frame this, and this is going to be a moment. So I set out, and I think I succeeded in making myself an important part of the Motu panel on Saturday night at Comic-Con.
I love it. And of course you were, because they invited you. They wouldn't have invited you if they didn't think that you were integral. How many panels did you do again?
3, 4.
Wow. It's amazing.
That was fun.
This
That's
is
such
what
a
you get.
such.
You get a name tag with your name on it. I have one. I have my WonderCon one and my Comic Con. Now this is two for me at Comic Con. David has like 50,000 of them. I think one year he had like 6 panels. So, but for me, it's very exciting. It's my second Comic-Con panel. It was a huge honor to be asked to be on one again. And now I had WonderCon this year. So I'm collecting little placards, but my placards are just a speck of what David's are. I don't even know why I get asked. David's like the comic book writer. David, if you go around with Comic-Con with David, it's like he's a celebrity. Like I remember like a few years ago, I walked around with you before preview night and I was like, oh my God, because we got stopped like every 10 seconds by somebody who was a fan or a friend of yours. And we couldn't even get to the restaurant. Well, can we just go to the restaurant? Jesus. But David has so many friends there and he's so big.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is it unprofessional, the facepalm? How many facepalms can I get away with? No, it's true, and it's such a fun thing to think about. Like when we started going, 18. It's technically it's 20 years. I started going in 2007 with you, and it's 18 Comic-Cons. We missed a couple because of the pandemic years.
Yeah, this would have been my 22nd if they had a Comic-Con in 2020 and 21, but they didn't. So it's my 20th.
But how my experience has evolved from just being a pure fan to being somebody who was trying to break into the industry, to being having the opportunity to be on panels and signings and that sort of thing. So it's been I will always go, and I kind of have to snicker when I hear anybody say, "Oh my God, Comic-Con! I have to go to Comic-Con again." So like works in comics or whatever, and I always think, I get to go to Comic-Con. I get to go to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So it'll never, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it, but it just will never get old.
Never gets old. No, the first 2 years I went for work. That's how I discovered it. And like I said, I went with my friend Dave Rosner the first time. But like first 2 years I was at an agency. And that's why I went for work. And then when I started at Sony in 2007, it wasn't required for me to go because it wasn't part of my job. And that was so 18 of my last Comic-Cons, I took in vacation off work. I wanted to go. I didn't want to rely on Sony sending me. I wanted to go on my own. And it's been a vacation of mine for the last 18 years. It is my favorite time of the year. There are days during Comic-Con where it'll be like Friday and I'm like, oh my God, there's only 2 days left. But you're like in a bubble for 4.5 days. And it's insane. It's insane that I'm getting up at 3 a.m. I'm getting in line at 5 a.m. that you're eating like, sometimes you're not eating for hours and hours and hours. The fact that I lost my mind over Pepsi, which is that's never happened before. Like being in the hot sun for hours. The fact is our Star Trek group was in line for 18 hours on Friday in order to get those wristbands. 18 hours in line. I have been in line for up to 21 hours before to get into Hall H. Some people just don't want to do Hall H. It's not important. It's important for me. It was a huge risk for me to agree to be on this panel and just will the fact that manifest that somehow I could do this panel and get into Hall H. Usually you have to decide if you're asked to do one. It's crazy that I just sort of believed that it was going to work. And if it didn't work, I would have been so bummed. It would have ruined my Comic-Con. The other cool thing is such small little things happen. I have this pin here that Tony Kim, who's creative here within, it's his 20th anniversary of being at Comic-Con. He created a special pin and he only gave out a certain amount a day. And I really wanted this pin because he means a lot to me and his company does. And at one point on Friday, I ran into him and at the booth and I said, "Oh, do you have any pins?" And he's like, "Let me see what I got." And he gave me one. And I carried it around all day in my pocket for some stupid reason. And I didn't put it in a more safe spot. And on Friday night, after I got my wristband, I couldn't find it anywhere. And I was devastated. And I'm like, I can't ask Tony for another pin. It's so embarrassing to ask him for another one. He only has a limited amount. And I was like, and I thought that was a sign that this Comic-Con was going to be I thought that I lost this pin. I'm like, oh no, that probably means that tomorrow's not going to work out too. Cause I've had Comic-Cons where something doesn't work out, then nothing works out. And if everything works out, everything works out. But then I went through my bag and I found it and I was so excited that I found the pin because it's just stupid, but the pin meant a lot to me. And so does he and his company. And then the next day, everything worked out. So it's like a magical time that it's really hard to describe to people who I mean, it's claustrophobic. It's crazy. And there's so many, it's like you're doing, like I said, I almost walked almost 39 miles. You're getting no sleep. You're not eating, but if it's just so fun to go, I feel like I'm around my people. I get to see friends I haven't seen in a long time, and I get to hang out with David, and it's kind of magical, really.
It totally is. The best way that I can describe it is on Sunday in the gas lamp when you start seeing the normies. Like there's like a lot of pool parties and stuff that happen in the gas lamp on the hotel roofs and stuff, and you start seeing like San Diego normies
Yeah.
start filter into the crowd, and that's when I'm like, no, it can't be over yet.
I
And I will
know.
say that like 15 years ago, like there were a couple years I did stay in the Hall H line with you. So I
Yeah.
experienced it, and I went into
Yeah.
Hall H, and I
There
and
are
I got
people, yeah, there are people that have done it and will never do it again. I had a friend that sent me a message on Instagram. I've actually met a lot of people who I'm really close to. Shout out my friend Tom and my friend Brad, who are two of my closest friends who I met in Hall H lines on different years. But Brad sent me a message on Saturday when I talked about how long I was in line, and he said, I don't miss the Hall H line. There are people that will like, I don't want to ever do that again. It was hell for them. But for me, it's just part of it and I love it. I don't even know if someone told me I could just go into college and have to wait in line, if I would be like, but I like waiting in line. It's just part of my experience. Also, one thing I just want to say before we wrap this up is that David and I always used to drive down to Comic-Con together. The last few years, he usually stays an extra day, so we can't drive down together. And he also sometimes his car is full of comics, so he doesn't even can fit me in the car anymore. And now he's coming from a different place. He's coming from Vegas, so that wouldn't work. But we used to, on the way back from Comic-Con, on the way home, we would talk on the way back about like what we saw ourselves in a year, or what we thought our future was going to be. And David used to be like, God, I really one day I would love to be a comic book writer. I would love to be on a panel. I'd love to be here with my own comic. And he was a lawyer, like a really successful lawyer. And then David made it happen. Years later, he was coming to Comic-Con with his own creation. Now he's made multiple comics. He's on multiple signings. People are lining up, like hundreds of people line up at Dark Horse to get his signings. He's on panels. He's doing live streams. He's doing it all. And like he made his dream come true. And he like quit his job as a successful lawyer to do this full time. It is so inspirational. So,
oh, well, thank you. I
yeah.
don't know. I was thinking about where this point next year, and I don't know. Maybe our goal is to find a way to drive down together.
Yeah.
That's our goal next year.
A few years ago, my goal was to hopefully have my own podcast one day. And I've been
Oh, here we
podcasting for a
are.
long time. And I do have my own podcast. And I don't think I ever even dreamed that I would be on a panel, because I'm just like a movie marketing nerd. I never thought I'd get asked to be on a panel. So the fact that I've been on two is really insane, because I'm not a comic book writer and I didn't know there was a place for me. And I never dreamed of being on a panel. It's insane that I got to be one. And I didn't want to be a creator or make movies or make comics. I'm really just a lover of film, but because I have my movie marketing experience, I've been lucky enough to be on a panel, and it's really fun. And so it's an exciting time. And then one thing we didn't mention is Sunday. Sunday is much more easy. It's usually when I go literally row by row of the entire convention center, just make sure I didn't miss anything. I ended up buying more shirts than I expected. I bought this $100 Doomsday collectible from a replica prop, which was amazing. I'm sure I probably shouldn't have done that. And David had a
That's the heat
signing.
stroke. That was the
Yeah,
heat stroke
you
talking.
even had signing. You had a signing and a panel on Sunday. You
I
had the
had,
40th anniversary Dark Horse panel, and you
yeah,
had
and
the signing for Frozen comic.
yeah. So I wrote a Frozen. I wrote a Frozen. It's my little inner David, like 6-year-old David, is so excited because it feels just like the books
Yeah.
that we used to take out of the library. Yeah, so Mad Cave paper cuts, their middle grade imprint. I got to sign that at their booth, and then got to do the 40th anniversary Dark Horse panel. So I try to keep Sunday open because I want to be able to enjoy the con, but sometimes these things pop up and you gotta do it. So Sunday afternoon, I had a little bit of a Sunday afternoon. I was walking around and I was trying to get everything done. And usually I'm like 5 p.m. I want to hear that announcement on the floor. But it was so hot. It was so hot inside the
Yeah.
exhibit hall this year that
Yeah.
about 3 o'clock, I was just like, I can't. I gotta go. I gotta get my Pepsi or whatever it was that I was dreaming about. So I didn't quite make it to 5 o'clock, but yeah. So it was. I mean, it was magical. The whole
Yeah,
thing was magical.
I did make it to five. Two last things. Well, three last things actually, really quick. Before we'll get to the Becky challenges. One is there was a convention themed shirt this year. They make a convention themed shirt every year. I've never cared about it. Like, who wants the convention shirt? And then the convention shirt is what I'm wearing right now on YouTube. I'll move down. It is a Comic-Con Star Trek 60 shirt with it has the Enterprise landing on right in front of the convention center. They only sold a certain 250 shirts a day. I didn't realize that. So every day it sold out. It was a whole thing. Almost all my friends got one. Sunday was my last chance to get one. So I got in line at 7:30 a.m. on Sunday. And luckily it was in my hotel where they were selling them. I got the shirt and all my friends were so proud of me. So I finally got one. It was really cool. And then, also here within the company I kept talking about with Tony Kim, they have a big fan photo at 1 o'clock on the floor. So like a bunch of us, like 50 plus of us got in front of the booth and took a really fun photo. And it was really, after the photo, some guy was like, oh, I went the wrong way. It's so busy here. And I said, oh, it's just a bunch of us Star Trek nerds. And he's laughed and he's like, I'm a Star Trek nerd too. So that was really fun. And then when the convention was over, David and I always kind of do a dinner, and we did a nice dinner and recapped everything. And then the last thing I want to mention is so random, but it was so humid, so humid. I carry around a flat iron in my bag, and I fix my hair maybe 5 times a day, which is insane. And I'm always so embarrassed about it because I will fix my hair and then 20 minutes later I'll look crazy again. But what was so sweet was that 4 separate days, somebody in the bathroom saw me fixing my hair. And the first person was like, wow, that's so smart that you brought a flat iron. And I was like, the first time anyone's ever said anything like that. And I was like, because I'm so embarrassed, like embarrassing that I'm fixing my hair in the bathroom. But a girl's like, that's so smart. And then the next day someone's like, that's genius. You brought a flat iron. Then I was called clever. And then I was called brilliant. So I got called brilliant, clever, genius, and smart in 4 days because of my flat iron. So now I am reinforced that it is a smart thing. And then the great thing is all the bathrooms at the convention center have plugs. So I was able to, fix myself and not look like a crazy person, except for my panel, which I look like
the one time that it mattered.
The one time it mattered when apparently I just found out there's a video of it and I look like Quasimodo. So don't watch the video. Maybe just listen to audio only. But yeah, that was our Comic-Con experience. I'm sure there's stuff we forgot about, but we tried to give you the ins and outs of everything. Is there anything else that you want to add, David, before we go to the Becky challenge?
No, I'm terrified of the Becky challenge, but I'm ready. I'll lock in. But yeah, I just think it's so fun to see that this Comic-Con is so enormous and it's so expansive that 2 people can arrive and literally share the same king bed in the same hotel room and go on such wildly separate tracks that it's like freaking Indiana Jones in the mine cars.
Yeah.
And we're just like, every once in a while, the tracks are crossing and we're like seeing each other and doing things, but just doing our own thing.
And you could have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So,
yes.
But it's all worth it.
I didn't even tell the most important thing on Saturday, what I forgot about. The elevators in the tower in our hotel were down, and I had forgotten this in our room for the Motu panel.
Oh, tell people for the audio listeners what your hand is holding up.
Sorry. The pamphlet that I needed for that wonderful bit in the Motu panel was up in our hotel room. The elevators were down because the fire alarm had gone off, and our room was on the 19th floor. So guess who committed so firmly to this bit that he walked up 19 floors to get that pamphlet to bring, and it was so worth it. That was worth it. You work for it and you get it. It's like
it hit. The bit worked. The whole audience went Grizzlor. So it made it. All right.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, thanks for, listening to us get through our Comic-Con experiences. So we'll get right to the Becky challenge right after this. All right, David, it's time for the Becky challenge. You've already survived one Becky challenge when we talked backrooms. But after Julia joined me for a Stephen King challenge, you made it very clear you had a serious case of FOMO. So today's your day or night, because we're recording this at night. As a lifelong constant reader and a writer yourself, I thought we spend less time with Stephen King's biggest novels and a little more time exploring his incredible short stories, novellas, memorable characters, and some of the film adaptations that have helped make him one of the most influential storytellers of all time. Get enough questions right, and you'll earn the title of Master Storyteller. Get too many wrong, and you may never make it out of Derry. David, welcome to the Becky Challenge. Night shift.
I'm already petrified. So terrified. Julia, if you are listening, all hail the Queen.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if I'm going to get there. But before we get to it, I have a kind of a thing that I hinted at that I wanted to tell you about, that why there is a connection between Stephen King, Comic-Con, and us. And I'm going to apologize in advance because I might get a little emotional about this. For any listeners that are meeting me for the first time or whatever, we lived in Altadena and we lost our house in the Eden fire. And I lost a lot of my whole Stephen King collection, all of my comics, everything. There was only about 4 things that I was able to save. And one of the things that I pulled off of my shelf, Becky, was this book. And you won't remember it until you see it, and then you totally remember it. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
So this book is a children's book that ties into the Dark Tower. And this particular version of it was a Comic-Con giveaway in early 2020. When did Dark Tower come out?
God, I don't know. It was a long time ago.
2012, something like that.
Yeah.
We just went over all of the craziness that is Comic-Con. And you had to get in line, and they had an actor they hired to be Beryl Evans, because this was actually written by Stephen King. And I could not make it to that event. And Becky got me a copy of this book. And there's maybe 1,000 that exist in the world. And it was it was sitting right next to the one signed Stephen King book I have on my shelf. And I pulled it off with the signed Stephen King book. So Comic-Con, Becky, Stephen King, and me.
I forgot about that.
I mean, it's such a prized possession. So
it is.
That's a very heartfelt way to say, if I totally fail in this challenge, just everyone think back to the heartfelt moment we had before we started.
Oh, that's the beauty of Comic-Con, though, is that sometimes there could be something that you care so much about, some collectible exclusive, that you're wrapped up. Like, I'm in Hall H, and David, can you get this thing for me? Or David can ask. And then sometimes, like, I had a friend that asked me, can you go to the Mondo booth to get me this poster? I'm like, the Mondo booth? I'm going to be there all night. And then luckily I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this for her? And then luckily 10 minutes later, she sent me a message. She said, oh, another friend got it for me. I'm like, oh, thank Christ. Because it's like, I can't spend my whole preview night getting you this poster. But sometimes you'll do it for your friends because they're not able to be there. And I love that meant a lot to you. And I totally forgot about that until you showed it to me.
It's one of the only, there's like 4 or 6 things that I took with me.
I know you didn't, when you grabbed stuff, you had limited time, and you obviously never in a million years thought that you would never come back.
I grabbed the signed Stephen King. I grabbed that book. I grabbed the copy of Wizard of Oz that I have from 1901 that I picked up when I was 12 at a used book sale. and I picked up the original art for Canto for this. Steve, of course, my husband, was the responsible one, and he picked up like our marriage license and our passports and all the things that, life things. And I'm like, let me get my nerd stuff. I need my
Oh my
nerd
God,
stuff.
I know. So it's
Yeah.
interesting what you grab. And when I thought the fires are going to hit our place at one point, I packed a suitcase full of my blazers and I had like 50 blazers. And I'm like, oh my God, I picked my blazers over like marriage licenses and passports. And I'm like, and then I had to have a hard look at like, what does that mean about me that my blazers mean this much to me that I packed all 50 of my blazers? Because it took me years to curate these blazers and all I could think about because
Hmm.
I love them so much. But yes, okay, let's start the
Anyway,
Becky challenge.
let's have some fun.
Yes. All right. So the first round one, there's 25 questions. First round is called short stories. All right. Number one, which Stephen King novella follows four boys who set out to find the body of a missing teenager?
Well, spoiler alert, you said it. It's The Body, which was adapted into Stand By Me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that was in the
Hmm.
that I wrote that in the question. Love it. All right. This is one of my favorites. Which Stephen King collection contains Children of the Corn?
It's one of two.
You got to pick one.
I know. Mm. Is it? I'm gonna get this wrong. It's either. I think I want to say Skeleton Crew.
Is that your
Is it
answer?
night? Yeah,
Okay. It's Night Shift.
Night Shift. That was the other
I know.
one.
I heard you started saying,
Oh,
girl. Is it night? Is he gonna pick it? Um, so funny. By the way, Julia got 23 out of 25 right on her Evil Dead episode for Stephen King, and the two that she got wrong were Tortory collection questions, which you have quite a few. You have more than two. So I wonder how Julia's doing. We should have Julia take this test. All right, number three. Which Stephen King short story was adapted into a 1995 film starring Robert Englund about a possessed industrial laundry machine?
The Mangler.
Yeah. God, that movie was so gross. I remember I saw that movie with my dad and it was so disgusting. It was
I
insane.
loved it, and I loved the story because I, I this is why I love Stephen King, because the story is about what about possessed laundry, like like machine that like you put sheets through and it irons them. And the way it got possessed was that it was all the ingredients to create a possession, but in random, like a bat flew in, and that was like the blood. And then somebody dropped. He talks about how somebody dropped their Jello, the Jello cup, into the mangler, into the machine, and it was because they needed belladonna, which is the hand of glory, which is a dead person, which is um, I forget exactly what the details were, but basically it was in horses hooves was part of it, and
Hmm.
horses hooves are what you use to make Jello. And that's how they got that ingredient. It's supposed to be a dead person's hand, and somehow they were able to, that counted for it because they used horses hooves in the Jello cup that the night shift person was working. So it blew my mind. I was like, how do you? That's awesome.
Amazing. Okay, so question four. Which Stephen King story inspired the 1992 film directed by Brett Leonard about a gardener with a mysterious talent?
Is it the Lawnmower Man?
Yes.
I love that. It was what's his face was the main actor. I can't remember his name.
Oh my God,
Uh,
there was like some questions I had for you that was actor related, and I'm like, it's too hard for you to remember the actor name, so I
I'm not
just
good
took.
with
I
like
took. I know.
actors.
I was like, it's not going to work. All right, number five, last question in this round. Which Stephen King novel was adapted into the 1983 film directed by John Carpenter?
Oh my God, directed by John Carpenter.
1983 film. It's one of my
83.
favorites. Yeah.
It's one of your favorites? Is that a hint?
I don't know. What's the
I'm not.
answer?
I'm not good at. Oh, I'm not good at directors. I mean, obviously, I know John Carpenter, but it is um, 83. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I could guess.
Yes.
Christine. Christine.
Yes, it's
Oh
Christine.
my God. I
I'm
was like,
glad you
year
guessed.
and vibes and era. And I was like, that's it. Christine.
I like how you're all, I don't know. I give it to me wrong. And then I'm like, guess. And you said Christine. All right, 4 out of 5. So you got one wrong so far. Now we're at round 2 collections. 5 questions in this round. You're doing great. You only have one wrong. Which Stephen King collection contains the Langoliers?
It is 4 past midnight.
Badass. That's awesome. All
I
right.
love that.
Which Stephen King collection contains the monkey?
That is Skeleton Crew because I believe it's on the jacket,
Yeah.
the symbol monkey.
All right. Number 8. Which Stephen King collection contains Apt Pupil?
That is Different Seasons.
Yes! You're killing this. God. Okay, number 9. Which Stephen King collection contains 1922?
Oh, that's one of the later ones. It is 1922. It's like I can picture the era, and God, 1922. 1922. Is it?
Is your dog drinking water?
Yeah, they all got up right at the right
I'm
second.
like, is somebody lapping water behind you? What's happening?
Wait.
Okay.
I don't even know how to mute this.
That's
Hold
okay.
on
It's
a
okay.
second.
It's charming.
It's ASMR.
Yes.
It is 1922. I know the story. I saw the adaptation, the movie, but I do not know what it was. I I uh I know it's not right.
You want to guess or no?
Uh, Let me think just for a second. Let me think. It is Just After Sunset.
No. That's a good guess though. It's Full Dark, No Stars.
Full Dark, No Stars.
That was hard. All right,
It's
last.
Full Dark, No Stars, Just After Sunset, and You Like It Darker, and it's all just stories.
Okay, last one. Which
Okay.
Stephen King collection contains N? Period.
Is it You Like It Darker? No, it's earlier than that. I don't know.
What's the
I'm gonna
guess?
fail on this.
Is that your guess?
It is.
It's
Um,
just after sunset.
Just After Sunset.
The one you just
Can
said.
I just guess those 3?
Okay, so you got 2 wrong in that. All right. Round 3, Constant Reader is the name of the segment. A lot more water. All right. Which fictional Maine town is home to the infamous Marston House?
Salem's Lot. My dog got choked up on that.
No, it is Jerusalem's Lot.
Jerusalem's. Oh, that counts.
Does it count? If it's the same thing, it's fine.
We're gonna get comments probably, but there's a short story that's called Jerusalem's Lot, and there's a novel called Salem's Lot.
Are they the same thing?
I think they're both the same town, and I think it got shortened to Salem's Lot.
Then it's fine. I'll give it to you right then, because I'll give it to you right. All right. Who is the vampire that terrorizes Salem's Lot? Number 12.
He lives in the Marston house. I mean, I remember his name. This is where it all just goes off the rails.
This is a hard one. The next one's really hard too.
I know as soon as you say his name, I'm going to know it. It's I don't know.
It's Kurt Barlow.
Barlow. Yes, of course.
Okay. Question 13. What is the title of Stephen King's novel about preventing the assassination of President John F. Kennedy?
11/22/63.
Badass. I was like, he's never going to get this. This is too hard. Okay. Number 14. Which Stephen King collection contains both The Body and Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption?
Shawshank Redemption. It's different seasons. It's the summer of our the summer of our youth, and fall from it. And each there's 4 stories, and each segment is a play on words for each season. Hope Springs Eternal, I think, is one of them.
God, if you and Julia got together, you would just kill trivia anywhere.
She knew Barlow 100%.
Okay, well, I'm going to make her play this and see what she got. Okay, number 15. In Stephen King's universe, what is the name of the mysterious shop that always seems to have exactly what its customers desire?
Needful Things.
Yeah. All right. So you got one wrong on that one. Okay. Round 4, lightning round. 5 in this one. Name the Stephen King work from the clue. All right. So I'm going to give you a clue and you're going to tell me what the Stephen King work is. Okay. Father Callahan.
Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Well, also he was in the Dark Tower. So.
Okay. Well, I accept both then, but I have Salem's Lot here. Okay. Blaine the Mono.
He was in the Dark Tower, and I think he bridged the Wastelands and Wizard and Glass.
Oh, awesome. I only have the Dark Tower, but that's awesome. All right, number 18, Lizzie Landon. I might be saying her name wrong. Lizzie Landon? Lizzie Landon? Lisey.
Lisey's Story.
Lisey. Yeah, sorry.
Lisey's Story, yeah.
Yes. So I said it wrong. Yes. Great.
Okay.
2 more. Wireman.
What is it?
Wireman.
Wireman?
Or wireman. Maybe it's one word. Wireman.
W-I-R-E?
Yeah, M-A-N. M-A-N. Wireman. But it might be wireman.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't. That doesn't ring a bell, but I'm going to say it's The Stand.
I have Duma Key. Duma
Key?
Yeah. Okay.
No. Is it Wireman? Is he the, I think he's the contractor who loses his arm.
I don't know. This is so hard to do trivia. Some of these, I don't even know what I'm doing. I have to just look up questions and hope they're not too hard. Okay. Number 20. Brady Hartsfield.
Oh, he's Mr. Mercedes.
God, this is so hard. So you got one wrong on that, 4 out of 5. All right. Last one, round 5, constant reader finale.
Oh, God.
Okay. 5 questions. 21. Sorry, I didn't have this. You have to say, why did I write this down wrong? You're supposed to say, I messed up here.
Is this real or fake?
Yeah, how did you know that? Oh my
I think
God.
you did it with Julia.
Yes. I'm so sorry. I forgot to write the instructions. Yeah. So you're going to tell me if this is real or fake. Look at you figuring out what it was.
A story or a real book or
a real collection or a real story or a real movie. Everything's eventual. Real or fake?
Real.
Yeah. Hearts in Atlantis. Real or fake?
Real.
Midnight Harvest. Real or fake?
Fake.
Yes, it's fake. 24. If It Bleeds, real or fake?
Real.
Yeah. And then last question. Stephen King's collection, Different Seasons, contains 4 novellas. Name 2 of them.
Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, The Body, Apt Pupil, and what's the last one? Apt Pupil and Secret Window, Secret Garden.
I have The Breathing Method for the 4th one, but you know what? You got 3 out of the 4, and I asked you to name 2.
I do not remember The Breathing Method at all. I've got to reread it.
Okay,
But
so
yeah,
you got one,
like 20.
2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 wrong, so you got 20. So
That's not
the
bad. Those are pretty
no,
deep
it's really
dives.
good. And actually, I feel like this might have been harder. Is this harder than Julia's?
I don't know. Well, am I a constant reader or what?
Well,
What
we're
did I get?
gonna we had you have different scores because I don't want you to have the same as her. I don't think so. Let me see. Let me do the scorecard. All right, rankings. 12 or fewer, Lost in Dairy. 13 to 15, Night Shift Worker. 16 to 18, Castle Rock Resident. 19 to 21, Gunslinger. 22 to
Oh,
24, Constant Reader. And perfect score is Master Storyteller. You got Gunslinger.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with being gunslinger. That's
All
awesome.
right. You guys, in the my listeners, tell me what you got. A lot of people told me the Stephen King challenge for Julia was really hard, and Julia got 23 out of 25 on that. Julia, I want you to listen to this and tell me what you got. I want to know. And then, what did you get on Julia's? Do you remember?
Probably around between 20. I think I got the two that she missed, but then there was other ones that
Oh,
I missed that. So I probably got the like 20 to 20. That's my dog again. I got the 20 to 23 range. I want to say I might have been a
okay.
gunslinger then as well.
All right. Well, that's amazing, David. You did really well. That was super hard, and I think a lot of people think Stephen King's really hard. And I focus more on the short stories. And I was like, I was like, this no, it's gonna be so hard. And I remember I told you that it was gonna be hard, and you're like, oh God. Anyway, congratulations on getting Gunslinger. That's pretty badass. All right. Well, thanks for coming. Doing the first ever Comic Con recap with me, and I hopefully it'll become an annual tradition. It's fun to hear your side as a comic book writer, according to my obsessive movie side. And now people really know how much I love Pepsi that I actually like freaked out about it. All right. Well, any closing thoughts on Comic Con or anything, David, before we go?
Uh, I will never not love it. So I hope you
Oh,
all feel the same way if you ever get to go to Comic Con.
yeah.
A
Oh,
lot of it's tough. It's a tough thing if you're going for the first time, but if you are in this world, you will love it.
amazing. And then show the YouTube, the washers your shirt. I don't think you're wearing a
Oh, Stephen King World of Horror.
nice.
So I hope I made everyone at least semi proud. I did not fall on my face. I
You
became a
did it.
gunslinger, which I was my dream. So
Nice. All right. Well, thanks for listening. And then I believe, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure, but this is a bonus episode. I believe this will I actually don't know if it's going to come out before or after our next episode, which is Spider-Man Brand New Day. But either way, you're either listening before or right after. And then after that, we will have an episode with Avatar Aang, the movie. So go out and see it on Paramount Plus. I'm very excited about it. And if you want to watch all the Avatar Last Airbender show, that's 3 seasons, but you could do that and then watch the movie. But anyway, thanks for coming. And I just want to say, go to the movies.